I'm going to start recording. Perfect. And I will share my screen. Kronos folks, my apologies. We'll take about 10, 15 minutes to do a bit of an introduction and some housekeeping, and then we'll pass it off over to y'all, if that's okay. So I'll just share my screen. Oops, everyone can see my screen? Give me a thumbs up, yeah. And then if I switch my page, people can still see my slides, right? You're not looking at my Notion notes? Perfect, okay. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you're tuning in from across the globe. Welcome to ChainSafe's 4th ever gaming developers community call. We're incredibly excited to have members of the ChainSafe community, the Kronos community, and the wider public writ large joining us today. And I certainly hope that everyone is staying safe in the markets these past few days as we all continue to watch the Luna US Terra debacle unfold. So as I always say, zoom out, stop doom scrolling on Twitter, and keep building. I think this is a reminder more so for myself than for anyone else, but you know, it's a good reminder nonetheless. We are your hosts for today's call. My name is Tim Ho, and I'm currently the communications coordinator at ChainSafe, and I help and host and admin 2 other community calls, including one for the Ethereum developers of Toronto, as well as a Polkadot Guild meetup group. And your other co-host is Kwame Bryan, who is our lead dev on our 100% open source gaming SDK repo called the web3.unity library. So if you're not in the know, web3.unity is the connective tissue for game developers on Unity to connect their games to EVM-based blockchains. You can reach out to us on Discord or Twitter. We're both super responsive, and those are our handles and our beautiful mugs, including my pixelated mug with a hoodie on. Okay, first things first. For your efforts today, for joining in and listening to this call, you can get a shiny new POAP. So feel free to take a moment to scan this QR code where you will be brought to a website and asked for your ETH address to mint and claim your proof of attendance badge. So I'll give you 10 seconds quickly. 1098765432. Just kidding. I'll also put up a link in the chat shortly after this. But yeah, feel free to claim. I'll give you another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. Quick little bit of housekeeping and shilling. As you can expect, we are still in the bootstrapping stage for this meetup, this being only our 4th meetup, but we've had some super dope guests on so far, surely more to come, including today's. So if it so pleases you, please join our humble little meetup group and give us those sweet, sweet dopamine hits. I love seeing our group hit all-time highs on the group members. So please join. Other than that, we have tons of resources for gaming developers to vacuum up. Our Discord is super, super active, full of questions and answers, very passionate community of developers. We also produce gaming life hacks, blog posts, and YouTube tutorial videos on how to use our Unity library. So if you want to become a powerhouse Web3 gaming developer, check them out. Lastly, just quick little bit of community updates for our SDK. Our gaming team, and specifically Kwame, we have been on fire with the community calls with other ecosystems and with other gaming organizations. So a couple of weeks ago, Kwame did a Moonbeam Moon Builders community call, which you can find the recording of on our Crowdcast. He'll also be doing a Moonbeam community call on May 18th, where he will talk about the SDK and maybe do a little bit of a deep dive on the technical aspects of our library. So stay tuned for our comms channels for more information on that. And then recently, we also participated in the Blockchain Game Alliance Demo Day. Blockchain Game Alliance is a professional network and consortium of various organizations around Web3 that wants to collaborate and share knowledge for blockchain gaming. So there's also a recording of it on our YouTube. And yeah, Kwame joined in and talked a little bit about the SDK and the future of gaming and blockchain. And then lastly, we're proud to announce the pilot of our Chain Sages ambassador program. Sages are members of our community whom we've identified to be particularly well-versed on the technical side of our tech and can help out other members of the community with support questions. They're denoted by a special designation on Discord, as well as potentially rewarded with monetary compensation in form of ETH or some other tokens. We also have a lot of stuff under wraps that we can't quite reveal yet about the program, but we're super, super proud to have added Discord member Sneaks as the first official Sage. I think Sneaks is on the call right now. I don't see him here in my gallery view, but this guy has been so active in our Discord community, helping countless others with technical questions. And so we're super, super proud to have him as our first Sage, Chain Sage, and ambassador in the Discord. So thank you for all your hard work and help in the community. And if you'd like to become a Sage in the future, we suggest you familiarize yourself with our tech, our code, and then stay tuned to our Discord for further information. And you can read the official announcement on our Discord. So I'm gonna now pass it off over to Kwame, who will give some updates about our SDK.
Thanks, Tim. That was an awesome introduction. And yeah, so over the last series of versions in V 1.2.6, we just did some wallet integration. We worked with Kronos to do some deep wallet integration and logging via the QR code. 1.2.7, that's when we embedded the documentation to the SDK inside of our SDK. So when you download the SDK, you currently have access to all the documentation. You don't need to no longer go to the portal. We deprecated 2019 web template, and we just did a few little tweaks to make the 2020 template be 2020X. So 2020 and above is working, and it's been a success. We haven't seen any bugs with that. 1.2.8, there was a bug found in the Web3 wallet login scene with the toggle. So this was just like a quick fix update, and we extended some of the documentation. And there was like some other web requests, disposing of web requests that we need to, that basically showed up in 2021. So we fixed that, pushed a new update. 1.2.9, processing response error was found, invalid string when using Polygon and Harmony networks with private keys. So that was another fix that we added. And that's kind of currently where we are now. And the last major thing that we did was adding the gaming SDK to the Unity Asset Store, so you can download the gaming SDK from the Asset Store now. And yeah, other than that, that's basically it for updates from the gaming SDK. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you, Kwame. We're not going to do this slide. Maybe we'll do it next time, just because we don't want to keep our guests waiting any longer. But yeah, we are finally ready to welcome our honored guests for today. We have folks from Cronos Labs that develop and run the Kronos ecosystem. So first off, at the end of this call, the Kronos Lab team will be quizzing every listener on this call with 3 questions to test how well you listen and if you're paying attention. First 3 to answer will have a chance to win prizes in the form of Crow tokens. Ooh, it should be spicy. If you win, please DM me in the Zoom chat with your email address, and I will, me and Danielle from Kronos will arrange for the prize. Nevertheless, to briefly introduce Kronos, ChainSafe's Gaming SDK recently joined Kronos's new developer platform offering called the Cronos Play, where our library became their first integrated developer tool in their gaming ecosystem. Big news. So what is Kronos? You might recall that our SDK is compatible with all EVM-based blockchains, as long as an integration is built for it. And that's exactly what the Kronos team did to allow gaming devs on Unity to connect their blockchain games to the EVM-compatible Kronos chain. So Kronos is a public layer 1 blockchain that interoperates with both Ethereum and the Cosmos ecosystems, which we've also worked out of. It is backed by crypto.org, crypto.com, and more than 200 Dapp developers and ecosystem partners. Within 5 months of mainnet launch, Kronos attracted more than 700,000 end users. I was about to say 700, sorry, 700,000 end users, and skyrocketed to being a top 10 blockchain with by TVL, which is total value locked. Indeed, they are a fresh new entrant to the Web3 gaming space, and we at ChainSafe are incredibly excited to onboard the wealth of gaming developers coming in from the Kronos ecosystem. So we have 2 speakers coming in from Kronos Labs today, Qiang and Ricardo Arcifa. Ella is a VP of Ecosystem and Partnerships at Kronos Labs. She's a veteran in the Web3 industry since 2016. She was like, yeah, an OG, basically. And she was Director of Partnerships at Stellar Development Foundation, followed by various roles in investments, advisory, and decentralized finance. Ella has a background in banking and corporate finance and holds an MBA from UCLA Anderson School of Management. She'll be introducing Kronos, Cronos Play, some of the features of it, the roadmap, and why should game developers build on the Kronos ecosystem. And then we also have Ricardo Arcifa. He is a blockchain innovation engineer at Kronos Labs. We went through multiple iterations of your introduction there, Ricardo, but I hope I got it right. And he focuses on projects varying from SDKs to front-end and back-end frameworks, as well as Unity development. One such project is Cronos Play. And I took an opportunity to snoop on your LinkedIn, Ricardo, and your academic background is quite colored. So I'm excited to have both of you on today, and I don't want to take any more of your time. So I will turn the stage over to you. You guys should all have co-host abilities, and so yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim and Kwame. Yeah, it's been a pleasure collaborating with the ChainSafe guys for the past few months, rolling out the first iteration of Cronos Play. So we're super excited to be speaking with the dev communities at ChainSafe. And together with me and Rick, we also have Leslie, who is head of developer relations at Kronos, and also Ricky, who leads the Kronos Play project and being the contact person between Kronos and ChainSafe guys. So in the Q&A section, I think those guys will be supporting with some of the questions that you guys may have as well. So without further ado, I will give a quick overview of Kronos Chain, especially because I think not too many devs are familiar with us, and it would be great to share with you the technical stack as well as an overview of the Kronos ecosystem. Okay, let me first share my screen. Right, you guys see?
Yep, we can see it.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, so to share a little bit of the story behind Kronos, I think, Tim, you already did a very good introduction of what Kronos is, but just to take a step back of like where the idea of Kronos comes from. So for last year, over 200 million people like bought their first crypto. And most of those new users enter blockchain through centralized exchange, right? In the specific case on Kronos, we saw use cases, we saw the user life journey from seeing, some ads on their favorite sports game, saw the crypto.com arena announcement and got interested into crypto, bought their first Bitcoin or ETH on crypto.com, and then started to see, the earn program, and then wonder what is powering those earn, and then like having all these returns, and discovered Kronos. So this is a typical user journey that we've seen for people entering to Web3. And this is also the story of where Kronos comes from. A lot of the new users coming to Web3, coming to DeFi NFTs through centralized platforms, And then with the support of various toolings and easy to onboard infrastructure, they get onto Web3. So Kronos was born to meet that purpose, to meet that demand. It came with a existing massive community of over 50 million users, users of crypto.com, holders of the CRO tokens. And they grow over time, they grow interest in the non-custodial, the Web3 world that everyone here is super excited about. So Kronos, we are the first EVM compatible chain on Cosmos. It is a general purpose layer 1 protocol that supports DeFi, NFT, gaming, and all these other exciting Web3 applications. We're an open source project maintained by crypto.org. It is powered by the CRO, now rebranded as Kronos token. And we have a user community of more than 50 million super enthusiastic crypto traders and players. So a bit deeper look into a few aspects of Kronos. So it is EVM compatible means that developers and projects are very easy to port their existing dApps onto Kronos. We've seen a lot of either natively built Kronos dApps or projects that are pursuing this multi-chain strategy, allowing users from various blockchain to be interoperable, to tap into the new user base that we provide. So all the common Ethereum infrastructure and toolings, you can be using in Kronos on day one as well. So Kronos is built with Cosmos SDK on Tendermint. We follow a proof of authority consensus. So each validators have a staked voting power that they vote within the consensus. Right now, we have 26 validators with a roadmap to further decentralize and invite more into the validator set over the coming months. Because it's based on Tendermint, so it's very fast, fast finality. The block confirmation time is around 6 seconds. Transactions is very cheap, around 10 to 20 cents per simple transaction. And it's also very environmental friendly to process the transactions. The transaction fees on chain are paid in the CRO token, which has been around for a very long time. And it is one of the top 20 cryptocurrency, and it's a very, I would say, a very retail focused token because of the nature of the crypto.com and how it was the currency is used within the crypto.com ecosystem from its origin. Our mainnet beta was launched since November 8th last year. And since launch, we've seen a lot of tractions and interest from the existing CRO user base. The chain itself has skyrocketed to top 10 public blockchains by total value locked. And right now, within the ecosystem, DeFi has been a major vertical with your AMMs, borrow lending protocols, option vote, a few like yield strategy protocols as well. NFT is another super active vertical on Kronos. With over 100 different NFT projects and 3 other NFT marketplace being active in the Kronos space. So on the technical level, the consensus and networking is built with Tendermint core, and then all the applications that are deployed on Kronos is on the EVM layer. So we work with other external teams, collaborate with external teams on the EVM module on Cosmos called Ethermint. So most of the applications are just only need to interact on the EVM level, but there's also in the future, there's also opportunities to involve in the Cosmos level as well, especially when we're talking about the IBC interactions. So IBC is built in on Kronos from day one, so which allows Kronos to be natively interoperable with other Cosmos-based chains that are also enabled IBC capability. So currently we are already connected to a few Cosmos chains via IBC, including Cosmos Hub, Terra, Akash, and a few others down the road. And because we're also EVM compatible, so we're in this unique position to link both of the ecosystems that we're both are very bullish on. And this is a overview of where we are since 6 months since launch. 26 validators, over 750,000 unique wallet addresses. Some of the key wallet service providers natively support Kronos. And Crypto.com DeFi wallet is actually one of the main entry points for users to interact with Kronos-based dApps. An interesting aspect of the Crypto.com DeFi wallet is it allows users to connect to your Crypto.com app. So if you're a KYC user, it actually provides a super smooth fiat on-ramp and off-ramp experience. So imagine you're a user, and then you just use the DeFi wallet to access any of your favorite dApp, and then with one click, you can withdraw the funds over to your Crypto.com account, which allows you to go withdraw into your bank account. So this is the feature that our users are very excited about. And there will be more and more native integration with other product suites within the broader Crypto.com ecosystem. And this is also where us as the ecosystem are optimizing for, is to lower the barrier for new users to come to Web3 and reduce the friction for them to interact with the Web3 dApps. Right now, over 200 dApps service providers are supporting and deployed on the Kronos mainnet beta. About 300 to 450,000 transactions per day. Yeah, and here's this is a little bit outdated map of the current Kronos ecosystem. And I think over time, it's a little bit hard for us to keep track of what's going on. Yeah, so a ton of NFTs, the top NFT marketplace, Ibisu Bay, is actually one of the top 5 NFT marketplaces across all chains in terms of transaction volume. For DeFi, in the DeFi sector, number 1, number 2, VVS and MMF Finance, which are 2 major DEXs, and I believe MMF Finance has once became top 2 in terms of trading volume among all DEXs out there. So we have an extremely active community who are new to DeFi, but super excited and wanted to experience more. The community has constantly been asking, when can we see more applications, when games on Kronos? Thus, games is a major vertical that Kronos Labs, Crypto.org organization, and the other community members are very excited about and going to put a lot of resources into. So the Kronos Labs, we are a accelerator of the Kronos chain, and we are allocated with $100 million in CRO token for various programs to support projects from different stages and support them throughout their journey over time. So different programs that we have in terms of the level of maturity of your app. So for the early stage, we organize various hackathons. The first hackathon was organized right before the mainnet launch, and we are going to announce a new hackathon in collaboration with Morales in the coming months. So stay tuned for that. And this hackathon is also going to be gaming focused. And then for projects that already have a product that's being built out, we also have a Kronos ecosystem grants to support, early stage protocols, key infrastructure providers. So these grants are set up to provide the economic benefits, as well as some marketing support, business development support, technical support on the one-on-one level. So far, we have given out 3 batches of grants so far, ranges from 4 to 6 projects per batch. And then for anyone who are interested in applying the Kronos grants program, just go to the kronos.org website, and then there's a tab with grants, and then you can apply in there. And then the next one I'm super excited about is the Kronos Accelerator Program. So this has not been publicly announced yet, but we're planning to launch the Accelerator Program in the coming months. So this will be a 10 months long program that tailored to high potential early stage projects, which I will get into it a bit more in the next slide. And within Kronos Labs, we also have an investment arm that are looking to invest in projects that are early stage, in the verticals that we are focused on. This also goes hand in hand with the accelerator program as well. And then the last one is the protocol incentives, which has not been initiated yet, but it is something on the roadmap. So for high potential, high quality projects in the future, that we will also want to incentivize and work with the projects in a way to drive more user base, drive more volume into their protocol and into Kronos. And just to dive a little bit deeper into the Kronos Accelerator program. So this is a 10 weeks long program that aims to incubate the top tier, high potential dApps deployed on Kronos. A few verticals that we're focusing on. First one is advanced DeFi. So especially DeFi projects that are very easy to use for retail users and are kind of yield strategy focused. Because of the Kronos user base demographics, like we're looking at like people who are new to DeFi, who don't really understand the nitty-gritties. So they're looking for something that's more similar to your Web2, like robo-advisor, fintech kind of experience. So those are the projects that we're super excited about. And then the second one, I think it's more relevant to the crowd in here today, which is metaverse and gaming. And we see high potential in the space as the next, channel to bring in more, the next millions and billions of new users coming to Web3, right? Because most people loves games, especially, some of the casual games are really fun and easy to play with. I think there's a tremendous opportunities in there. And then the third one is the infrastructure. So I think even though we've been in this space for years, but infrastructure is still, very pretty like early stage. So we're excited about infrastructure to support gaming, to support metaverse, to support multi-chain future. So those are the verticals that we're focused on for the accelerator program. We are running 4 cohorts per year. Each cohort will have about 8 to 10 projects. And then in terms of criteria, we're looking at team, team with good tracking background. Team are working full time on this project. The project will either be natively launched on Kronos, or they have a multi-chain angle, which also includes Kronos. Project will be at ideally MVP stage, and by the end of the accelerator program, they're ready to release alpha. And then ideally early stage, like pre-seed or seed round. So from Kronos Labs, we will provide mentorship, workshops, investment, and a lot of sessions, advisory sessions that covers things from like your go-to-market strategy to tokenomics design to security, smart contract security best practices. So yeah, it's a very exciting initiative that we are about to announce and launch in the coming months. So if you're a developers who are interested in building something and interested in joining, please let us know. Okay, yeah, that's it from the brief overview of Kronos. And I think the main dish for today is that Rick is going to talk about Cronos Play, and he will also have a technical demo about how Cronos Play works. I hand it over to you, Rick.
Great. Thank you, Ella. Thanks for the introduction. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Yeah, first of all, again, thank you, Ella. And firstly, I think we are, I can talk for everyone, we are very excited to be here today. Thanks for having us. What I want to show you today from a Cronos Play perspective is I really want to give you firstly, an introduction of Cronos Play, what it is, what the benefits are, and how to get started. Then I want to move ahead and show you a little bit of our documentation, the different modules that we have prepared for you. And last but not least, I also built a little top-down RPG game built on SDK, which I believe is also something that we should be able to manage to show you today during this session. But hey, why don't we start with answering the question, what Cronos Play is? So I think in a nutshell, Cronos Play is essentially a very comprehensive and modular suite of developer tools, as well as services, with the aim to really streamline the creation of games within the Kronos blockchain ecosystem, basically. That's it in a nutshell. If you have a look at this page that I'm showing you here, that's kronos.org/play, it will basically show you all the details of what Cronos Play is, how it works, what the benefits are. But if we scroll through the page, I think some areas worth mentioning is that really we believe that Cronos Play is super easy to integrate, with your games that you might be developing right now. And it's coming from someone that has not been developing games up until, I think, January, when I first started to work with Unity, learn Unity, and understand how I can build games and using blockchain as well within the games. The three main points here, as you can see, is you have data that's coming from the chain that you can get into the game that you might be developing. You have the possibility to use things like wallet authentication and authorization, whether it is your traditional MetaMask wallet or whether you want to use the DeFi Connect wallet. These are just some of the options that are made available to you. The other point is, the possibility to use your tokens and NFTs in your game, meaning, possibly using coins as a rewarding mechanism within the games that you're building, but also creating an ecosystem and a marketplace where you can use items and assets and all these sort of things that you want to have within your game. So I think the 5 points that answer the question why someone should build on Kronos are summarized, as can be seen here. It's a multi-platform support that is being offered. So you will have support for engines such as Unity and Unreal. Right now, the support is available on Unity, so the SDK is currently based on Unity, but we are about to release as well Unreal Engine support in the short future. Also, the possibility to scale up adoption. So we work alongside, you can work alongside top blockchain startup accelerators, as Ella introduced before, and the possibility to get exposure as well to the rapidly expanding community of currently 10 million plus users across the chain. Another thing is, when it comes to transaction, I think, especially in gaming, things need to be rather fast and straightforward. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge when the network gas fees are a little bit high. And that's something that we also made sure is, fast and cheap as much as possible, in addition to really be green compared, to, let's say, traditionally Ethereum, for example. And then the fact, that you have the option to work on an interoperable blockchain, meaning, you have an IBC protocol with the native interoperability and the possibility to access as well Cosmos. Our roadmap, I think the first thing to keep in mind here is we are actively working on, modules that include the Crypto.com Pay module, the Crypto.com authentication, as well as the Crypto.com NFT marketplace. So these are modules that we are currently working on, and I'm hoping to be able to release some news on this very soon. Keep an eye on this page, because we will always update the community on our official channels as well on this page. So while having a look at the news as well on this page here. And then secondly, as I mentioned before, we are currently working actively on the Unreal Engine plugin, which is going to be released very soon. So keep an eye open on this one here as well. And finally, we also are working on the C++ development SDK, which is going to be released as well very soon. So just a couple of names, to mention here. We are working already. You can see the likes of Decentral Games, DGP, Dragon SB, and so on. So we are really, really, really hopeful to see a lot of new logos coming in. So if you have interesting games, or if there is something that you are working on or want to start to work on, please have a look at the form that we have embedded on our page. By simply clicking on the Contact Us button, you will easily go to our Airtable form, which you can then fill out and get in touch with us. Good. That is it from the page perspective. What I want to do now is I want to jump into our actual SDK, which has been divided in a very modular way. So you can see that we have different modules here. We have a simple introduction, that introduces the SDK. Worth mentioning, obviously, thanks to the amazing effort and the great collaboration with ChainSafe. I think this had a really, really big impact on us, on making sure that we can actually build this SDK. So super big thank you to the ChainSafe team here. And then, if you move forward to the next module, I think the place where you want to start essentially would be, the getting started module. It will outline a couple of prerequisites before you get started, some operating systems we are currently supporting. Again, this is completely based on Unity as of today, but we are in the process of releasing also the Unreal Engine module very soon. So bear with us a little bit more, and you will also be able to build on Unreal Engine if that's something you are interested. Yeah, apart from the prerequisites, what I want to do is I already prepared a little environment here within my Unity deployment on my machine. So there's a couple of simple things that I want to show you. It's all based on the ChainSafe SDK, but if we move into our Unity setup, there's a couple of things that we can do. So first thing is, the module, if someone wants to get their Crow balance, for example, into the game, which I will show you, by the way, in the RPG top-down that I prepared, that's something you can easily do by adding, you know, the RPC string in here, and basically also make sure that you add stuff like your account address, which can be replaced by the player prefs once you know, you start to build and want to add the address dynamically, which I will show you in a minute. So if you go and have a look in the asset, so what happens is when you start an empty project, 3D project, you import your web3.unity ChainSafe package within your Unity build. And what I did for today is I created a little folder, I call it Kronos, and I have my 3 prefabs in here. So I think the first one I want to show you is, let's take the EVM balance prefab. As you can see, it has my EVM balance of Kronos script. So if you open this one, you will immediately see that this is basically what we just saw in the SDK. It's just pre-filled. So what would happen here is I'm going to go and run this. I will get the balance of my address, which will be then seen here on the bottom. And the result is 0 because I pretty much don't have anything in this address, but I think you can use it also with the testnet if you want. So there's some faucets that we have prepared, and if you want to start to build something and want to get some test crow, you can do that directly via the faucet. Then the second option is, you know, more around NFT balances, and I think this is pretty cool because it shows, you know, once a user starts to log into a game, possibly that you are building, you can already query the chain and see if that user has any NFTs, and if he does, possibly you could then fetch those NFTs into the game, which is also something that I will show you in a minute within the game that we have prepared today. Going back to my Unity environment, let me show you, just remove this one. Have a look. So I think it's this one. You want to see the NFT balance of our ERC 721. Now I do have an NFT on that address. So I should receive a result of 1 in here. Okay, and that came true. And actually in the background, you can see that something is happening. That's because I have this, I have a quad here with the script, which is actually going to be one of the modules that I'm going to show you. But first, I want to show you another example in here. So if you were to build, you know, a class that checks for the ownership of a specific ERC 721 asset, then that's something you can take from here. You know, again, this is completely based on the ChainSafe SDK, and we have started to use the RPC string that is based on our EVM endpoint in here. Difference in here is that I have filled it out already within my environment. So if I go and take the prefab, that's the one ERC 721 ownership. I drag and drop it into my sample scene, and then I just run it, and that is going to show the address that I used. which has a test NFT based on the testnet. And here we can see who the owner is of that specific NFT. So if I'm gonna open the script, what we're doing here is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the ChainSafe SDK, but what we do is we created a string, that checks the contract of the NFT. We are using the token ID of the specific NFT. We also want to use the RPC method based on the Kronos testnet. And then we want to print the owner of that specific NFT. And obviously the owner takes the information based on a chain, network, contract, the token ID, and the RPC, and prints the address of the owner back in the Unity environment console. Oops, that's the game that I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you here from a getting started module is how to import NFT metadata. More specifically, instead of just showing you how to use that module in a simple, script as mentioned here in the getting started module, I want to show you how I actually build this specific scene. So you might have been seeing this already in the ChainSafe YouTube videos when it comes to importing NFTs upon successfully logging in. The same thing is going to happen in here. So if you go to our build settings, the only difference is we select in the player settings the Kronos DeFi wallet extension. Thanks again to the ChainSafe team to prepare this template for us. Once we select this, we go ahead and build and run the scenes that we have added in here. So we have the web login scene followed by the sample scene that we have in here. So what's going to happen before I start to run the scene, if I come back and I check the scripts, that's the script that I'm using here. I created a quad object here, an empty quad object in white, and then I added the script as a component. So if you go and check the script, we will see, obviously, we use the account in here, the contract, the token ID, and the RPC method. And then we make sure that the owner of that NFT is the same as the account. Now we can replace that with, if you come back here and check at the login example, with playerprefs.getString account, which basically takes the account address once we sign our MetaMask account or our DeFi wallet account. And if the owner and account are the same, then it starts to run the script in here and replace the quad texture with the NFT. So I've prepared this actually already. What I'm going to do is, okay, I'm logged out from my DeFi wallet. What I want to do is I want to scan my DeFi wallet QR code to log in. I'm going to proceed and approve on the app. And here we go. I logged in. and it loaded a funny looking asset. And that's in a nutshell, a couple of things that you can start doing with the SDK, as you can see on our docs page for Play. And I think, it helped me a lot when I initially started building out some examples within the SDK. It was really, really helpful. And I think for getting started, to get familiar with the SDK, it's quite easy. Obviously, we always appreciate feedback and your own experiences. So please feel free to share once you start building on the Cronos Play SDK. We are always here to listen and to improve upon receiving also your feedback. But let's switch to a little RPG game. I'm going to close this one. So what you see here is a little RPG top-down game, which is based on the Daniel Thomas collection in Unity. It has a little hero character in here. But let's start from scratch. I'm going to log out from MetaMask first. To restart the game. So very similar to what we saw before, we have a login area where I click on enter. I want to sign in this time with MetaMask. Okay, I click on next, and then I connect. Cool. So what you see here is now I'm logged into the game, and it loaded my balance and my account address. There's a couple of things that we prepared in this game. Let's start from the very first one, which is a simple transaction such as collecting a coin. Now, in the context of a game, this could be something like sending a coin to another player that's logged in online. And whenever there's someone that I want to send a coin to, I can do this by simply using the transaction module within the game. Right now it works like this. So whenever I go to the coin, when there's a collision with the coin, it starts the process with my address. Actually, I hard-coded another address of myself in here. So what happens is once I prove this transaction, that one coin that I defined in the function, in the script, is going to be sent to another address, always defined in the script. You will see now the 77 will decrease because I sent away one coin. Here we go. It went to 26. Now, in the meantime, a couple of things happened. So I have loaded 2 NFTs that I have in a testnet into the game. One is that helmet. And these NFTs have been created with our NFT test faucet, which pretty much works like the OpenSea testnet page that allows users to create test NFTs. We have created something very similar on our Kronos.org/NFT -faucet URL. So you can connect with your address and start to create your own test NFTs. If we look at this one, it's hosted on IPFS. It has a contract address. It has an ID. It has also metadata. And what I did is, in a very similar way, I used to load the NFT into the game previously. I used the same approach, and now I have those NFTs in the game. In addition to that, obviously with a little bit of scripting, I made a couple of scripts that allow me via collision to actually collect those items and equip them on my little character in here. And obviously, the NFT is currently only hosting the front version of the item. So what happened in the game, I basically used the script to change the image based on direction, meaning that the skeleton of this item is stored in the game. It has left, right, top, and down. But the fundamental NFT image or texture that we see here is pretty much loaded from the testnet chain. Here I have my little pauldrons, and I equip them as well on my character. And yeah, that's just 2-3 examples of things that can be achieved, you know, with the ChainSafe SDK and the Cronos Play SDK. There's much more that can be done. I'm currently working also on something like reward mechanism. You know that many games offer something like daily rewards, and I think it should be something that studios and developers should be able to easily provide when they want to build something similar to the traditional rewarding systems. In the context of this game, what we did is we created, I'm going to run this from here because I usually get a course error when I run it from the browser. So if it works, it should actually send me my daily faucet rewards, which is based on address, and it's allowed only once per day. So if everything goes well, let's have a look at the console. Oops. Okay. Pick up the coin. Okay, so this triggered a message. Okay, it triggered an endpoint, created a hash transaction, and we have sent funds to your address. So actually, we can see in real time, if it's not going to take too long, how the new balance is going to be updated. Now I have 126. This is another way of using, you know, endpoints. You know, you can build your own endpoints and then take care of the transactions within the game, without having the user having to switch from the game to the wallet back and forth. So that's also an option. You know, I think the possibilities are just endless. And this is just one of the many examples of the things that can be possibly built, you know, using blockchain technologies as well as, you know, SDKs such as the ChainSafe SDK and the Cronos Play SDK. So without further ado, I think going back to the Cronos Play page, if you have a great idea, if you're working on games right now and you want to start using blockchain technologies within your games, don't forget you can simply go to the kronos.org/play page and contact us via the contact us button in the bottom of the page. And with that, I think we also have a quiz, if I'm not mistaken. So there's 3 questions which I want to ask the audience before handing over. There's prizes. So basically, in a nutshell, there is 3 prizes in total to be won today. They are all worth 500 Crow, and basically they go for each one that answers one of the 2 questions. Please keep in mind, if you win one of the questions and have the right answer for the second question, we will take you to consideration only for the first question you answered. This will also give a chance everyone else to win something today. Let me go ahead. The 3 questions you can use the chat in Zoom to answer are as follows. Question number 1, remember I mentioned it in the very beginning of the session. Which game engine is currently supported in the Cronos Play SDK? So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to answer in the chat. Second, number 2, which game engine will be supported soon? And remember, that's something I mentioned as well before. Last but not least, the last question, number 3, on which Kronos page do developers express their interests? Or in other words, what is the URL? If you remember, I showed it a couple of times. So I give you a couple of seconds as well for this one. Okay. I think from the Cronos Play side of things, that's it from me. I'm gonna hand back to the wonderful team at ChainSafe, but please feel free to get in touch. Remember, there is a contact us form in the bottom of one of the pages, and we are always keen to get your feedback and help to build Cronos Play and make it a better place for game developers and start to see some exciting projects there as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ella, and thank you, Ricardo. That was a great presentation. Yeah, like everyone was pretty excited to answer those questions. Please DM me your email address for those that answered. I can't, it was too fast in the chat. So just DM me your email address. I'll go back and review the chat to see who came in first to answer the questions. But yeah, first of all, like, dude, Ricardo, like that, the demo was blowing like everyone's minds. Like that, to see the sort of capabilities that can be enabled by like blockchain is just, yeah, like absolutely fascinating. So excited to see like how, you know, stuff like RPGs will develop like in the future with blockchain and NFTs enabled on it. Yeah, that was insane. So we have some time for questions and answers. So if anyone has any questions, please drop them off into the chat box, or feel free to unmute your microphone, unmute your camera, and ask away to both of our lovely guests here. So any questions? I guess I have one question for you, Ricardo. So like I noticed that when the in-game avatar was picking up a coin, it had to trigger this like MetaMask pop-up, and you have to like sign a message or whatever in order to pick it up. Like, do you foresee this being the workflow in the future of Web3 gaming? Because you can imagine it's quite like jarring to have to suddenly sign like a MetaMask transaction or whatever during gameplay. So how do you foresee that like developing? Or yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question. A question I actually asked myself when I first started to build that little in-game method. I don't think it is, from a gaming perspective, ideal, because supposedly as a gamer, once I'm in my game, I don't want to switch from one screen to another. It happens sometimes. If you look at some of the RPGs, you know, when you, and I'm mentioning RPGs that are not built on using blockchain modules, but still those traditional RPGs, whenever you want to buy in-game coins, for example, at some point you have to leave and go to Steam and put your credit card in Steam and sign and confirm. And then you are being redirected back into the game. So there will always be probably up to a certain extent some areas where the player will have to leave the game. But when it comes to transactions such as, hey, there's another online gamer, I'm gonna press the chat button and open the transaction menu to send him some items. Possibly I wouldn't want to leave you know, the screen for such a type of operation. And if you remember the second coin transaction, actually that I showed you in the game, I did not have to leave the game to get my rewards added into my balance. And that is because the difference is that in the second transaction that I showed you, there was a built endpoint. So that endpoint takes care of all those type of transactions, you know, it takes care of the protocol of all the parameters to ensure that something happens on the chain, but is not something that disrupts the gaming experience. So there's two kind of things. Obviously, it doesn't come with the SDK. It requires a little bit of developing, a little bit of knowledge of blockchain protocols, you know. But I think I would envision that the next generation of blockchain games will provide the best possible user experience and make it as smooth as possible, and reduce the amount of times that you have to switch between wallet and game as much as possible, to an extent that you don't even see the wallet anymore, possibly.
Fair enough. Yeah, like I'm really excited to see, like, yeah, where the next, I know we're still at the first wave of blockchain gaming, so like really excited to see the sort of solutions that developers such as the people in this chat and even people that aren't in this call, but will hopefully one day be in this call, the sort of solutions that they will develop to sort of make this whole experience a little bit more seamless. We have a question here from Senk. So Qiang, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. If you want to ask a question yourself, feel free to unmute your microphone, or I could read it for you. I'm not sure if you have a preference. I can read it for you. Okay, so do you have an interest in hyper-casual mobile games collaboration? Can hyper-casual games convert to blockchain-based hyper-casual games with your system?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, with the advent of mobile gaming, you know, even the likes of my parents started to play games on their mobiles, on their tablets. So I think it's a brilliant question. So do you have interest in hyper-casual mobile game collaboration? I think the answer is we are always keen to see the type of projects that you have and share experiences. So if you have a cool idea or a cool game that you want to share with us, feel free to send us more information about it. Can games convert to blockchain-based hyper-casual games with our system? That's also a really good question. So I think anything that allows a certain level of scripting should, up to a certain extent, allow the integration with blockchain. So, for example, when I first started to build the little environments that I had, first I did it for WebGL, and that worked pretty smoothly, and that was all good. But then I also wanted to explore, you know, other builds, and I did so with the Mac operating system as well as the Android and iOS SDK, and that worked. I had my hiccups here and there because I'm not an Android or an iOS developer. But I'm sure that someone with the right amount of experience, you know, will be able to find out how to use our SDK, or even give us some suggestion if there is not a way of how to do it. So I think we're seeing just the top of the iceberg here, and all the feedback that will come from people like Sang and other people that have great projects are always really welcome. And I'm just looking forward to see a little bit of those projects. So hopefully I see the game in the submission, and then I guess we can take it from there.
Yeah, and this is definitely an open call from not only Kronos, but also ChainSafe as well. There's a lot of like unsolved problems, maybe like UX, UI things that we need sort of like developers to kind of look into and help come up with solutions for. So if you have good games, or good ideas for getting around some of these issues, like definitely drop by into our Discord. And I'm not sure for Kronos, perhaps like contacting them on their website and dropping them a note. But yeah, does anyone else have any questions? Ella, I have a question for you. So like this accelerator program is quite interesting. And so are there any particular, like, I'm not sure if you're allowed to expose this already, but like, are there any particular gaming projects that you're looking to partner with for this acceleration program?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd say probably 1/3 of the potential candidates that we're looking at to enroll in cohort 1 are gamings. So it's yeah, like gaming is a very, very, very big component to the accelerator program. So if you guys have any good candidates, definitely shoot me like a message on Twitter.
There you have it. That's a call out for y'all to submit any gaming projects to the accelerator program. Any other questions? Comments? I'm going to share my screen. I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to stop recording now. Oh, here, wait. Ricky in the chat says the Kronos team has a Discord channel for Cronos Play. So yeah, go into the chat, join your Discord channel and also ours, and get in touch with developers like Kwame, Ricardo, Sneaks, and yeah. Oh, Rankun, you have a question? You can feel free to unmute your microphone to ask.
Yeah. Hi guys. My name is Rankun. So actually, I just started like Solidity development as well. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, you know, on Kronos chain as well, would it be possible for like interoperability between like NFT games? Like, for example, you created the helmet, right? Could it be shifted to another game and like still be used there as well? You know what I'm saying? So like somewhat like the metaverse kind of thing. So I just want to get a question on that.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. Hi, Rankun. That's a question I'd love to answer myself because I haven't tried it yet. But the way I would envision it, imagine you build an NFT and you store a version of that NFT. What I did today is I created the front version of a helmet and the pauldrons. And I stored the image into you know, the metadata of the NFT. What happened afterwards in the game is I call for that image to be fetched into the game. So whenever I log in, I see the frontal version of the image. Now, the way the game showed the image shifting its direction is because I used in Unity some C# scripting to change the position of the helmet, left, right, top, and down. However, to answer your question, could I possibly use, you know, perhaps even with some Solidity scripting, use some functions to ship the same item to another game? I think the simple answer is probably yes. The more difficult answer is it has to be tried. So I think if you have a source, like you can think of the NFT data, metadata as data that is being stored. I suppose you can use that metadata in different environments. It can be the RPG game, but I also showed the same item that you saw in the RPG game in the getting started section that I showed previously when I tried to log in with the DeFi Connect wallet. It is basically the same item. It's two different environments. One is a 2D environment. The other one was a 3D environment that was using a quad to represent the texture in which the NFT image is going to be uploaded afterwards. So I'd love to see what you're working on and see how you are going to solve that opportunity, because I think there's so many ways of actually doing it. I saw a couple of weeks ago, someone that used actual attributes and not the asset itself. So perhaps thinking of uploading the attributes in form of metadata of a specific item could be another way of achieving the same thing, by using the attributes to then dynamically change the asset within the different games.
Okay, I kind of get an idea of what you're looking at as well. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Oh. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. Does anyone else have anything they want to add? Bueller, I am going to stop the recording then.